Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
This is Abhinav. So Aditya, you are in 8th. You are going to 8th now? 10th complete. Oh, wow. Okay. Abhinav, you are 8th. So in this, I'm keeping the microphone, and today we are having only one microphone. Can you arrange 2 other microphones from there? Yes. Okay. So I'm keeping the microphone so that it gets recorded. And I'll not be able to shout a lot. So in the next sessions, we'll have a speaker also. And I'm keeping it in hand because I'm going to write stuff. I would like you to write stuff. We need a bigger board. We will arrange for that next week. Okay? Not next week, in the next session. Now. What's your name? Deekshita. Very nice. What are you studying? First PUC, 11th. Okay. You can keep your bag aside. All of you, please keep your books and pens with you. Do you have your book and pen? No. Next week you bring it. And the reason is, I'm going to discuss many points. And then I'm going to ask you to reflect on those points. And then I'm going to ask you to say something on it. So please note down the points. Always come with your notebook and pen. Okay? If you have not done today, I would expect that you rely on your wonderful memory. You are all young. You have much more wonderful memory than I do. Okay? How many of you here get to know about news? How many of you read the news or hear the news or watch the news? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 3.5. One hand is like this much. Okay. Okay. Recently, it was caught on camera. I'm not asking you to go back and see on camera, but what happened is, in the state of Uttar Pradesh, Prabhu? It's on, Prabhu? It's on. In the state of Uttar Pradesh, there's a city called Allahabad. It's also called Prayagraj. And in Prayagraj, there was a person, there's a person by name Atiq Ahmed. And he had a brother, Ashraf Ahmed. So what happened is, sometime in 1996-98 onwards, they started the way of becoming a don, a criminal. And you know what? When somebody becomes a don or a criminal, sooner or later what happens? Well, you know what do dons do? What do these criminals do? Tell me, Kundan. Kill people and then? Steal, okay. They scare others, okay. So, but then what happens is, the police may come and catch them. So how to avoid it? Huh? Small army, but police has much more folks than anybody else, right? Huh? Huh? Bribe the police. Okay. Anything else that can be done? Huh? What is it? What is it, Hemakin? Yeah.
Contact with the political leaders, and that's how they control the mass of people.
Hemakin, you have got it, man. Right. So what they do is, first, if they have the political leaders under their control, then the politicians will have the police under their control, and therefore the police will not catch them. Right? And the police is even going to make use of these gundas to get their dirty job done. Right? So this is what happens. And so it so happened that now there is one level of problem, that we are discussing about a person called Atiq Ahmed, a don who was killed recently. Atiq Ahmed and his brother Ashraf Ahmed. Okay. So then what happened is, they thought that we have to please these politicians, right? Now let's go one step further. What if we become the politician? So that's the next level. So they stood for election. And one of them, he won the election. And then something happened that there had to be a re-election. And in the re-election, this Ashraf Ahmed was defeated by another candidate. His name was, I think, Sampal, Raju Pal. I think Raju Pal is his name. Okay. So then what happened is, because this candidate defeated him, they thought, how can I come back into power? Very simple. They killed him. After he became an MLA, they killed him. So then again an election was held, and then people realized whoever comes, they're going to kill. And they have the rule of the law, these dons. So let us vote for them. So either they refrained from voting, or whomever they bribed, that those fellows started voting for him. And finally, this person did become an MLA, Ashraf Ahmed. And they became MLA, councillor, and all of those things. But then a case was put against him. You can't just kill in the broad daylight and do nothing. So a case was put, but because they were politicians, this incident happened sometime in 2004 or so. I'm forgetting it, 2002 or 4. For the past 19 years, it remained a case. And they were arrested, they went to the jail, and in the jail they got all the facilities because they made money worth around 1,000 crores. And not just that, how did they make this money? They used to get weapons from Pakistan. And you know what, Pakistan these days, how they send weapons to India? Across the Pakistan-Punjab border, they have drones. So the people are not required. The drones come, cross the border, they drop the weapons, and somebody picks up the weapons, and you get all these costly weapons. It's used for other killing and all that stuff. So now, the only problem they had was in that murder which they committed in 2002 or 2004, whatever be that date, there was one witness. So about 1.5, 2 months ago, they killed that Atik's son, who was a 17 or an 18-year-old boy. He killed that witness too. And that too, usually when people, I don't know if you have seen, people have these webcams and not webcam, the security cameras, etc., CCTVs, closed circuit cameras, etc. No, they didn't break it. They came right in front of it. Usually people cover their face. They try to hide their identity and do it. Right? They didn't even do anything. You know why? Because they wanted to prove, if you go against us, this is what is going to happen to you. Okay. So, that's how you show power, right? Power is not shown by, you cannot be like a coward and just come there. Power is shown like, I can do anything to you, come. Tu bhi dikha, kya kar sakta hai? Like that they wanted to do. So then the government, which was there in UP, they decided, there were many such killings. Nothing happened. But in this Umesh Pal killing, along with him, there was a police security also for him. They killed the police constable too. And so the worst thing you can do to a police is you kill anybody of their own folk. Because as long as, typically in India, for the police folks, what happens is, the police works hand in glove with the criminals. Police help the criminals help the police. But if you kill anybody anyone do something to them, they get agitated. So they said, you have crossed this level now. So they somehow found out this Atik and this person, and they did what is called as an encounter killing. In an encounter killing, they kill first, and then they make it look like something. No adults here. Adults have to go, except Vinodini here and these two here. Sorry about it, Mataji. Huh? No, you have crossed the age group. I am still under 22 only. That's a different issue. So, in an encounter killing, what happens is they kill first, and then they put a pistol or something under him and say, hey, he tried to attack us and then he died. So they took pictures of him, and the cops themselves made a mistake. When they took the picture, they said this person was trying to run away from us, and then he fell off of a bike. And then he started firing at us. In self-defense, we fired, and we killed him. What can we do? If somebody fires at us, we have to fire at them, right? But in the pictures, when you see, that person was lying dead. In his pants, you could see he had urinated. If somebody is fighting, will he urinate? Only after, he's beaten black and blue, then they will urinate. It was a giveaway. That it was an encounter. It is what is called as an encounter killing. So this is how it happened. So now when you look at this, these are the hardened criminals, so to say. The boy may not be a hardened criminal, but this Atik Ahmed, Ashraf, they were hardened criminals in that there were like 100 cases filed on him, many murders, Many property, like a lot of property, they would come in front of like a property. They would say, "This is how much is this worth? 1 crore. I will buy it from you. I will give you 10 lakhs." The person says it's worth 1 crore. If you give me 95 lakhs, also it's okay. 90 lakhs is also okay, but 10 lakhs is too less compared to the property value. They'll say, "I'll give you 10 lakhs, or else I have the gun in front of me. Your life will not be with you. What will you do with that money?" He'll ask. So that way they used to confiscate properties also. Right? So, then, these hardened criminals, this is where I want to ask from you. Do you know what is it that motivates these hardened criminals? Your thoughts on it. Give it to me. So when they speak, does it come? You can check. Yes. Mohit. Revenge. Okay. Not coming?
Prabhuji, like if any person has revenge on the on the other person, unless like he's satisfied.
I've read in news that when a person kills someone in revenge, he gets joy and he goes for serial killing due to psychological conditions.
So you are saying that he is doing it due to psychological condition.
Yes.
Okay. Give it one. I'll ask some of you also.
I feel that they want to show that there is nothing right and wrong, there's only power. So they want to show that even if we are criminals, we have reached to this top, see us.
Okay. They want to show their greatness.
Yeah, and they want to show that there is nothing called right and wrong, there is only power. So you.
Okay. Kundan, what do you say? What motivates them to get into this?
Their mentality is like that.
Their mentality is like that.
Yes.
Okay, very nice. But what makes their mentality like this? Don't know. Okay. Yes. Vedant.
So Prabhuji, is the uncontrolled minds, I think.
Uncontrolled mind. Very good.
And also the lack of knowledge they have. They have not been brought in such an environment where they have been taught proper knowledge.
Okay. This is a nice point that you wrote, that you told. But I'll just add something to it. This Atiq Ahmed, he was in jail for a long time. And it so happened that once when he was in jail, he wanted to confiscate somebody's property and the person was not giving. So what he did is, he made that builder, he made his men kidnap the builder, brought him to jail, got him beaten up in the jail, okay, and then said, "You think I'm in jail and I cannot do anything? If you're outside, I can bring you inside, I can beat you black and blue. Now tell me what you want. Would you want to give that property or not?" That is what he said. So the point that you said here, from the perspective of what Ratik said at that point in time, when somebody questioned him, why you are doing it, he said, "Today I am killing somebody. I know tomorrow what is going to happen to me. कहीं पड़ा रहूँगा मैं इधर उधर, somebody will kill me and go. Either अपना बिरादरी का कोई मारेगा या police encounter में मारेगा." So they have come to the stage where they have said, they know it is wrong, but they cannot get out of it. How many of you here ever feel, I too have an addiction, that it is very tough for me to come out? Any hands raised? Anybody feels here you have an addiction that you cannot come out of? I'm not saying that killing somebody. I mean, that's okay. If you have that, then we'll have to have a deeper talk. Other than killing, do you have any other addictions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I should raise for mine also 11. Although, can you list the ways in which there are many addictions. I'm not going to get into that. That's a separate session. But what prompts us to have that addiction? What do you think?
free and relaxed and
Sense gratification.
We get pleasure by doing that for a long time.
Very good. And then?
For at least that amount of time, we feel that we can escape from reality.
Where is the other microphone? Anything else? Shivani? Any other?
It's like an escape from reality. It takes our mind off of things which we usually worry about, and also sense gratification. Uh, the normal worries, the tensions, the stress. So you need to face and deal with the difficulties, but this is like an easy way out. Yes, bro. See, I feel like addictions are more of a comfort zone than happiness. We know we are not happy, but we are comfortable. We know this is going to give us a misery, this is not good for us, but at that minute we are comfortable. And it's more likely like a procrastinator mindset. Okay, after that, whatever happens, we'll take it. Right now, I'm comfortable. It's more like a tamaguna mindset.
So, in these kind of distractions or these addictions which lead to distractions, we are yearning for either just a comfort now, but there are some people who are very, very, very motivated to have happiness in life. Some people struggle to have a nice career so that they can earn more money, so that they can have more power, so that they can have nice building to stay. You can have a sauna, a jacuzzi in your house, and then you can have your own private swimming pool, and then you can have a Mercedes Benz in which you can ride in Bangalore traffic, which goes at 20 kilometers per hour. Right? I mean, and everybody, when we go in 20 kilometers per hour, everybody looks back at his car and says, wow. And when everybody looks back at his car and they just drool over the car, you'll see, car is mine, like that, right? People want a sense of being recognized by others. Some way, either for money or intelligence. So many people try to come on talk shows or give podcasts. Why? They want to be recognized for their unique viewpoints. That's the happiness they get, right? So apart for some of them, they just feel like, I want happiness in terms of people around me. I want my father around me, I want my mother around me, I want my husband, my friends. Somebody should be around me. There are the people oriented. So when we go from comfort to happiness, somebody looks for that. And invariably, what happens is, in this world, somehow or the other, the structure of this world is we get happiness and we get distress. And this is where, no, he has to go to the other class. You're able to follow what I'm saying? Okay. And this is where we come, and the reason is today is the beginning of this session. One of the objectives of this session is we would like all of you, I believe all of you are very intelligent folks. We shouldn't shortchange you. I would like you to study scripture from how it affects me and actually what the scripture says and what are its different understandings. Sometimes we think we see the world in terms of black and white, but there is an element of gray, so-called. That is what we hear in common parlance. But in terms of scriptures, there are multiple white levels. It's not the gray, or in other words, it is not like some little right, little wrong. No, there are multiple ways to view this white. That is what we are going to see here. And so we are going to come to a point, I'm leading that discussion here, for us to understand certain crucial points in a very elementary verse in the scripture, which is, let's come to this verse here. And we all have to learn how to recite this verse, okay? The verse goes this way. Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate yad brahmatamuparyadaha tad labhyate dukkavad anyata sukham kalena sarvatra gabhira ramhasa. So this verse, tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate yad brahmatamuparyadaha. How many of you speak Hindi? One. Oh, a very good number. Yeah, okay. So, upar means above. It comes from the Sanskrit word called upari. Upari means above. Adaha means below. By the way, how many of you here can potentially read if I write the same verse in Devanagari script, in Hindi or Sanskrit script? How many of you would be able to read? Gaurang, you'll be able to read Hindi, no man? No Hindi? No Hindi? Kundan, how about you, man? You can read, no? So everybody can read here. Okay. I don't know your name. What's your name? Pujita. Okay. Which standard are you in? 10? Oh, you're already in engineering second year. Very good. Okay. So, what is going upari and adha? Going above and below. There is the bee is called Brahmara in Sanskrit. What does the bee do? The bee goes from here to there to here to there. It goes to one flower. It tries to get the nectar from one flower. This is tasty. Maybe if I go to the other flower, I'll get little more. It goes roaming around here and there. This roaming around here and there is what from that Brahmara comes this word called Brahmatam. Okay. So what happens? We want to go in for sukha, but invariably we also get dukkha. And by doing so, we brahmatam. We go above and below. There are various lokas above us. There are various lokas below us. There is this loka. There are various species of life which give better facility. How many of you know about the netherworlds? Which are the netherworlds? In the Sanskrit word for the netherworlds. 1 minute.
Atala sutala tala atala vitala sutala talatala patala. Rasatala mahatala.
So when you hear of these words, the nether, lower worlds, etc., what comes to your mind? Is it like, it is beneath the surface of the earth and, there is not much light, like you'll have to get into the earth, or what do you all feel?
I feel it's a land of torture.
Consciousness, which have higher consciousness, the lower planets have low consciousness.
Very good, correct. Yes. Then, anything else? Gaurang? You think? Okay. You say?
There is suffering in the planets.
Okay. Yes, Dhriti. Huh? That's but what happens in those lower planets? Okay.
There will be more enjoyment in those planets. More sense gratification.
Perfectly right. So, the lower planets does not mean it doesn't mean suffering in the sense of the common parlance suffering. What we normally think as suffering is, somebody is there with a whip and is going to hit us, and there is a thought we normally think the lower planets as hellish planets. Hellish planets are different from the lower planets. They are two separate things. Okay? So in the hellish planets, you have the suffering. And the difference is in hellish planets, one doesn't have a body. One doesn't have a gross body. One has only the subtle body. One has the mind, the intelligence, and the ego. But in the lower planets, one has an appropriate body. So whatever you see, this technological advancement, etc., the people in the netherworlds are super master at it. We are just scratching the surface. So all those of you who are engineers, your role models should be the people in the netherworlds. Okay? So if you really want to create something good in engineering, you have to have a deity picture. There was one movie. I forgot the name of the movie. In that movie, there were these 4 young boys. It is a Telugu movie only. Of course, I don't understand Telugu, but little I can follow. So that boy, he always wanted to be, I think, a film hero. And so when he wanted to become a film hero, he thought that picture is like Shah Rukh Khan or somebody's picture. But actually that picture was a picture of Dawood Ibrahim. Dawood Ibrahim is one of the, like the underworld don who actually bombed Bombay in 1993 or so, etc. And he didn't know that. He was a young 12-year-old boy. And then finally somebody comes and says, what, you're worshipping this man thinking he's Shah Rukh Khan? This is actually Dawood Ibrahim. And then he goes on a mission to find Dawood Ibrahim, etc. I haven't watched the movie, but that's a trailer that I watched. Okay? That's what it is. So in the same way, those who really want engineering, etc., okay, what is the name? Mission Impossible. Mission. Something like that. Correct. So, the lower worlds are categorized, netherworlds are categorized as suffering because when somebody is enjoying too much, they will not feel like, is there anything better? When this world that we have here, this Bhuloka, it has a right mix of good and bad, and therefore we'll sometimes think, is there something better? So that's why it conditions our consciousness. So that is where we are coming, like, when we do Brahmatam Upari Adaha, when we go from one Upari, we can go to Devaloka and we can go to the netherworlds. So the Devaloka also has enjoyment. The netherworlds also have enjoyment. But what is the difference between the enjoyment in Devaloka and the netherworlds? The Devaloka enjoyment is, I will enjoy, and at the same time, there is somebody called God. I have to focus little on God, little on enjoyment. The netherworlds is no God, full enjoyment. Common factor is enjoyment. That is there. So now, how many of you here chant? Raise your hands. Keep your hands raised. How many of you, when you chant, while you chant, you feel like that ice cream, if I get, no, it is so nice. That you can, those who don't get that feeling, you can keep your hand down. No, that's okay. Even sometime if you get also, keep your hand up. So for all of you, your ticket to go to the higher realms is guaranteed. So what happens is, you can easily go to Devaloka. Because you are chanting Krishna's name, and you have the pleasure that, ice cream, bel puri, pani puri, whatever you want, right? You will get a much higher class over there in Devaloka. But what this verse says is a little different. Let's memorize this verse, and next time that we meet, we are going to meet 3 weeks later, because next week is the last Sunday. We will not have program. After that, we are going to have the Brahmotsavam festival. We will not be meeting, but following that, the 3rd week from now, we are going to meet. By that time, you have to memorize this verse. So what's the time? Okay, I have time. So first, I have not yet come to the main point here, but I'm just building up to the point here. I'll tell the first line once. You all of you repeat twice. Okay? Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido. न लभ्यते यद् भ्रमतामुपर्यदः तद्लभ्यते दुःखवद् अन्यतः सुखम् कालेन सर्वत्र गभीररंहसा The full verse now. Together, let's do it 2 times. First time I'll join you. Second time you can tell alone. Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate yad bhramatam tad labhyate dukkavad anyata sukham kalena sarvatra gabhira ramhasa tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido Kalena sarvatra So this verse says that persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable by wandering from the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, down to the lowest planet, Patala. As far as happiness is derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be automatically in course of time. It will come automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even though we don't desire them. So, what this verse, how does this connect even to whatever we talked about Atiq Ahmed? Or we talked about the rest? The way it connects is, even the person called Atiq Ahmed, he is after that thrill. That one moment's thrill, he wants again and again and again. He knows that this thrill is going to lead him to his death. Just like the firefly also knows that I am going to go to this light, the more I go to the light, I am going to die. And we, most of us think we are better than Atiq Ahmed. But actually we are not. There's not much of a difference between him and us. From the time of our youth, almost till old age, we think, let me earn a little bit more money. Let me spend my body in sense enjoyment. And slowly the vitality of life goes away. Slowly the energy goes away. And then we come close to death and then we think, what is there? Anyway, I need something to live in my body. I have to enjoy something. How all the spiritual people can talk about whatever they need. But after chanting this mantra so many times also, after doing this puja so many times also, tell me who has got any bliss there? All of them are just faking it. Nobody is talking properly. That is what most people think. Right? Forget most people. Even amongst devotees we think, chanting you do one time is okay. 16 rounds is okay. 24 hours who will do chanting? There is something else that is required. We are looking for some other happiness. And that is what drives us. We go uparyada, brahmatam uparyadaha. But what this verse says is, if you are a little bit philosophically inclined, you might think there is something more than this uparyadaha. And this is what is very much related to, let me start our actual content. This is related to Srimad Bhagavatam, first verse, and the Brahma Sutra. This entire thing is related to it. So, since you all anyway understand, you can follow Sanskrit, let me write it here. What have I written here? What do you mean by this? What do you understand by this? Anybody? Yes. Which is the word which says now here? Okay, I'll make your life simple. I'll make it simple. There is a sandhi here. You all have learned sandhis, right, in schools? No, it's wrong. So, this is split as ataha plus atha. So, one is a big tha and another is a small tha. What do you call for the big word is dirgha? Dirgha, not dirgha, something you call. Atha, Brahma Jignasa. It looks like these two are almost repeated, no? Not Maha. Mahaprana means, it comes. Right? So, this is ataha and ataha. There are two words here. Brahma and Jignasa. So all of you are saying, you all are very good children of good devotees. You all have heard very much, very nicely. And you are saying, therefore inquire into Brahman. Which word says therefore? This ataha or this ataha? Okay, very good. This first thing says therefore. Okay? This says therefore. I agree. What is Brahma here? God. Eternal Brahman, okay? Absolute truth. All of you know all the terminologies very well. I'll ask all the Matajis here. What do you think? What does Brahma mean?
Brahman is absolute
So Brihati iti Brahman. What's the meaning of the word jigyasa? Inquire. Okay. Fine. Do you think? Do you think this therefore inquire unto Brahman? But what does this atah mean? You told me this inquire. You told me Brahman. You told therefore what does this atah here mean? No. No. Okay. So today, what we are going to do for the remaining 15-20 minutes that of time that we have, and then we'll have a discussion here, is this verse actually has a lot of meaning in our lives, in our sadhana. You can think this is just a superficial verse, but we will discuss what Ramanujacharya says about this, what Madhvacharya says about this, what Jiva Goswami says about this, and what Baladev Vidyabhushan says about this. 4 people. And how this is related to Srimad Bhagavatam. Any idea? So I finally said here, it has to be related to Srimad Bhagavatam. But why should I even consider Srimad Bhagavatam here? Any thoughts on this? This is from Brahma Sutra. It can be whatever, somebody can write something in Brahma Sutra. Why should Brahma Sutra and Bhagavatam be related at all?
Bhagavatam is the essence of all the sutras and Vedas.
Amala Puran.
Okay. Anything else?
Vyasadeva summarized Bhagavatam, all the Vedas, in Vedanta Sutra.
But what's the relationship between Vedanta Sutra and Bhagavatam? Essence is one way to say. Is there anything else, any other way to say? Final conclusion. It's correct. Okay, that is right. The Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So, if I'm having any understanding on the Brahma Sutra, it should be validated by the Srimad Bhagavatam. How is this Athato Brahma Jignasa validated by Srimad Bhagavatam? And for that, how many of you here know the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam? Okay, I'm going to sing in a particular tune. You all might have learned some other tune, but try to follow with me this tune. Okay? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Tonvayaditarataschaarteshvabignaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yad Surayaha Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Strisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. In this verse, that we just discussed, the last phrase, Satyam Param Dhimahi. This Satyam Param Dhimahi is actually an explanation of Athato Brahma Jignasa. Did you all know this? And there's a reason for it here. There is a direct link between Athato Brahma Jignasa and Satyam Param Dhimahi. Now, so, what commonly we understand as this Athato Brahma Jignasa, the word Atha actually indicates. So you all said Ataha means therefore. But Atha, this here, means there is a prerequisite or a qualification. That's what this Ataha means here. And what is the prerequisite? Different people tell differently. Okay. And why did Vedavyas start his verse with Athato Brahma Jignasa? Prior to him having this Brahma Sutra, there was one more book called as, this Brahma Sutra is also called Brahma Mimamsa. Prior to Brahma Mimamsa, there is one more book which was there called Dharma Mimamsa. And the author of that is actually Veda Vyasa's own student called Jaimini Maharshi. And Jaimini Maharshi, his own student, wrote a book, and Veda Vyas, the teacher, is writing a book to contradict his own student. So, the relationship between the teacher and the student is a little dynamic. Does it mean here that Jaimini is going against his guru? Jaimini has an opinion, he has understood something, and he says something in the Dharma Mimamsa. And what does it say here in Dharma Mimamsa? He says the same thing. Athato, he uses as it is. And then he says, it's not Brahma Jijnasa, he says Dharma Jijnasaha. What does Dharma Jijnasa mean? Therefore, having fulfilled the prerequisites, inquire about Dharma. But then there's a problem here. The problem here is when Dharma comes into picture, there will be so many definitions of Dharma. There is a Dharma for a child to study, Dharma for a person in a job to satisfy whatever his employer wants. There are so many dharmas available. It becomes a little volatile definition of dharma, right? And therefore, to give better understanding, he wrote directly as go for the highest. That was the reason why, to clarify what his student had written, he wrote Brahma Jignasa. And this is a problem that we see in current day world today. If you look at all the so-called the Hindu-vadis, Hindutva-vadis, etc. Most people in the name of Hinduism, they actually focus on Athato Dharma Jignasa. You should do this right, you should do that wrong. That religion does this right, does this wrong. The focus doesn't come on Brahman. The focus comes on Dharma here. A small definition of Dharma, not the complete definition. And that's the problem. It is not just them. We ourselves sometimes get caught in it. How? You have to wear this dress only, this color with this, I mean, like a kurta should be like this in color. It should have one pocket on the left side. It should have nothing else on the right side. I'm giving just examples here, but sometimes we think that this is the definition of a devotee. Somebody who has a kanti mala with two rounds, with a chanting bag in hand, and coming to the temple and paying obeisance, coming up. And this is nice. This culture is required. I am not saying it should not be present. But we often tend to put down others who do not follow it. I'll give you an example. Sometimes, when people come into Krishna consciousness, their parents may not be there in Krishna Bhakti. And then but the thing here is, for most people to understand, they have to understand that most children have some or the other qualities of their parents. Whether they like it or whether they don't like it, they have the qualities of their parents. And as they grow older and older, they'll realize, I'm very much like my father and mother. Maybe in their age and their time, they used to do differently. In my father's age and time, they used to wake up, take a cup of coffee, take the newspaper, open it, and read it. We wake up in the morning, brush our teeth, open our phone, read Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. Newspaper has changed to mobile phone. That's all the difference is there. But otherwise, the habit is something very similar. We are not that different. And so what happens is, there is what is called as the newcomer's enthusiasm. And the newcomer's enthusiasm is, I am chanting so much, I am doing so much seva in the temple. Look at my father and mother. If just he was chanting like, everything else is fine. Otherwise, it's okay. But he doesn't even understand how to chant. We are very quick to point out faults in others, not understanding that either we have to be an instrument in helping them, or there is some other very nice quality which we may actually not be having. We don't tend to see that. So we too see in the eyes of Dharma. Instead of seeing for Brahman, we see it quite often in terms of Dharma. And Vyasadeva didn't want others to get into this Dharma Mimamsa. That is why he gave it as Brahma Mimamsa. That is, which starts with Brahma Jignasa. So now, let's come with the prerequisites here. And this is where prerequisites means the necessities that one has to satisfy before coming into. So the prerequisite for getting into 8th standard is 7th standard, pass. Okay. Now, what do you think are the prerequisites for Brahma Jignasa? Can anybody tell here? What do you think? Huh? Interest, okay? Interest, and then humility, okay? And then? Then? Service? Service mentality, okay? Then? Curiosity. And then? Huh? No envy. Okay, and then? Huh? Inquiry, that's there here. Okay, I didn't write it, okay. No, that is the jignasa that comes here. You are inquiring now, but what is the prerequisite for the inquiry? Or the inquiry, that's the right way to say it. Huh? Higher consciousness. How to come to higher consciousness? But how to come to that? So you're saying broader mentality. How to come to broader mentality? Knowledge association. Okay. Okay. So basically, you all are using all the words you have heard from all the Bhagavatam classes so far. You have learned the vocabulary very well, and you are using it left, right, and center. Very good. I love it. So knowledge. Okay. Detachment. Now let's see what other acharyas say. First, let's go with Ramanujacharya. What Ramanujacharya says is that after one does karma yoga, where there are activities prescribed for each person according to his varna and ashrama, and one should get purified by it, and thereafter one comes to the stage of after that purifies one's consciousness, that helps him to come to the stage of Brahma Jignasa. So what does this karma yoga mean for him? It means for him that a person should wake up in the morning and he should do Sandhya Vandana. And then he has to light the fire and do the sacrifice, fire sacrifice. That is called as an Aupasana Yagna. Every day he has to do it. That fire should never be extinguished. Day after day, he should do the fire sacrifice. And then he has to go and worship the deity in the temple and worship the deities at home. Then while eating also, there's a particular way of eating food. Right? So the entire day is regulated, and you do as per the Vedic literature, and that is what Ramanujacharya says as the qualification coming here. How many of you believe that Ramanujacharya said this? And raise your hand. And how many of you believe that this is right? This is correct? Raise your hand if you think it is right, or if you think that there is something more to it. Huh? Not yet decided. That's okay. No, you tell later. Who has decided? Yes, Mom.
It is right, but very difficult to follow.
Next.
It is absolutely right, Prabhu. We need a certain discipline and a procedure to be followed day in and day out. Otherwise, everything becomes barbaric and confused. You just do whatever you want.
Part of what Ramanujacharya said here in this Karma Kanda, not Karma Kanda, it's Karma Yoga here is, there are family responsibilities, there are family functions. Like there are wedding. You can keep your hand down, I will come to you. There are weddings. Then there are, Upanayanam for somebody. There is a death ceremony for somebody. One has to be there for all of these things too. That also comes under Karma Yoga. So, in a dispassionate way, doing the Vedic, the activities enjoined according to the Veda is Karma Yoga according to Ramanujacharya in Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Okay. What do you want to say?
When as we do these, we'll either get sins or we get more punya. So then we'll keep going, like what they've said, we'll keep going from top to bottom. But I feel there's something higher after listening to this.
Okay, you feel something higher. Now, if you can feel there is something higher, do you think Ramacharya will not know about it? Right? He's a great Acharya. He should also know about it, right? So Ramacharya had a twofold approach. In his Sanskrit works, he wrote one way. And in his Tamil works, he wrote in a different way. Okay? So most people, the Sanskrit scholars read only his Sanskrit books. Why? Because in the Tamil books, he wrote what the Alvars had written. Okay? And the Sanskrit works, he wrote, there were already existing commentaries on the Brahma Sutra. He said, I have to refer to them. No Acharya will ever say that I have got Jnana Sakshatkar and I am going to do everything. He will always refer saying there is a previous commentator like this, there is a previous verse like this, and therefore I have to do it. So in Tamil, these Tamil Alvars, they used to say, if you go for Ramacharya, in his Sanskrit works, it was Karma Yoga is necessary, is a pre-qualification. Correct? Whereas in his Tamil works, he would say, Prapatti, in other words, surrendering unto the Supreme Lord and depending completely on the Supreme Lord is the prerequisite. Okay. So Prapatti is what he had called it as the prerequisite here. Everything starts from Prapatti. And for Prapatti, one can be even in any station of life and one can still do Prapatti. So all that one requires is that sense. So the prerequisite for Prapatti is, most important, is a feeling of helplessness. This is what is tied to that humility that is given here. That is what Ramacharya was saying. Now, when we come to Madhvacharya, you know what he says here? Okay, I will take it here. Yeah. Madhvacharya, when he says, for him, he says, it is not this karma yoga that is a prerequisite at all. He disagrees with this karma yoga principle. But what he says here is, a person should have been like what all of you are saying here. He should have been purified by practicing the Vedic scriptures. He should have been purified to get these qualities. And then he says there is a linking word. And the linking word is jigyasa. All of you talked about jigyasa as curiosity. But Madhvacharya says something else. Madhvacharya says, what is the limit? How does this curiosity come? Is it that just because of my ability I will get curiosity? There are so many people in this world, not everybody is curious, right? So he says, this jigyasa actually indicates the grace of the Supreme Lord. It is only by the grace of the Supreme Lord that we can get to know what is Brahman. So jigyasa here, he primarily says is the grace of the Supreme Lord. Why did he speak about the grace of the Supreme Lord in this verse? Madhvacharya is the prime proponent of the Dvaita school, the dualistic school. Who was his opponent? Huh? Mayavadis. Who was the Acharya of the Mayavadis? Srimad Shankaracharya. What is this philosophy called? Huh? Advaita. So Advaita, the relation between Brahman and soul is one of equality. When two people are equal, what is the necessity for dependence, grace, humility and all? Nothing, right? So he started breaking the fort or the citadel of Advaita right in the first saying, to this Brahman, only when you have the grace of the Lord you can achieve. Because then itself it means there is two. There is the higher being God and there is a lower being, which is the Jiva. So he broke it right in the first itself in his commentary. So there is no scope for Shankaracharya to come in further. So that's the way they write. Now, the same thing when you come to Baladev Vidyabhushan. So what does Madhvacharya says? It's nice. It's through the grace of the Lord. Correct? But what is the cost? There is something called the prerequisite and what one should do. Now let's come to Baladev Vidyabhushan. What does Baladev Vidyabhushan say? I'll just write it here as BVB. Okay. Baladev Vidyabhushan classifies people into three categories. Swanishta, Parinishta, Nirapeksha. You have to note down all these points. Okay. I'm going to ask you later. I'm not going to ask you in the sense of asking a question. What's going to happen is, in the third session from now, this is the first, second, third session, I'm going to ask you people to debate with each other. Okay, so you have to debate mutually amongst each other. Swanishta, Parinishta, and Nirapeksha. What is a Swanishta person? He says the Swanishta person is very similar to the one who is this Karma Yoga person here. Nirapeksha. The Swanishta person believes there is somebody called absolute truth. But there are duties of this world. I like to do the duties of this world, and I also want to go to God. That is the Swanishta. There is another person called Parinishta. That person also does duties of this world. He wants to go to God, but it is not that he likes those duties of this world. He does it to show it as an example to others. The Nirapeksha is a person who believes the world will run whether I show an example or not. I just want to do that which will actually help me to come to Brahman. So that's Swanishta, Parinishta, Nirapeksha. He says these are the three categories of people who will come here. And they have already been purified with all of these qualities they come. But there is one more important thing required. There is one other important qualification required for a person to come to this stage, which is, he says, Baladev Vidyabhushan clarifies it very because you see the progression of devotional understanding. Ramacharya was in 1100 and odd AD. Madhvacharya was in somewhere around 1200s. Baladev Vidyabhushan is in, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in 1486 to 1524. Baladev Vidyabhushan is 1600s to 1700s. You see the progression here. It's going deeper and deeper. This is what I said as different shades of white. It's not a gray, it's a white. Nirapeksha is interested only in pure bhakti to absolute truth. Okay. What Baladev Vidyabhushan says is, therefore inquire into Brahman, he is not what he translates. He translates it as, having obtained the association of devotees, therefore inquire into Brahman. You see this? In this verse, anywhere do you see association of devotees? No. So, the word jigyasa means this curiosity comes from the grace of the Lord. The grace of the Lord comes from the devotees, and therefore, having obtained the association of devotees, inquire into Brahman. That's the link here. And so, why does Baladev Vidyabhushan say that? Any idea? Any verse that you can all tell? I can tell one, you all can add more. Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasada Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. One who gets Guru Krishna Prasada, only that person gets Bhakti. He can therefore inquire into Brahman. Otherwise, he cannot inquire. That is the link here. Correct? Now, Madhav Chandra. He is the ultimate hero here. Madhav Chandra, you come here, man. Why are you... Hemakiran, you are sitting there, no? You can sit there. You know, your leg, it's a problem. Madhav Chandra, you sit on the chair, man. He's a VIP, no? Okay. Which one? I'll come to the Bhagavad Gita shloka. Which Bhagavad Gita? I have a... Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Very good. Very good. So that verse also is the same. So, the first verse here, Athato Brahma Jignasa, Baladev Vidyabhushan says, having obtained the association of devotees, therefore inquire into Brahman. This is the prerequisite. We also have to discuss why, there is a question that will come, why should we inquire into Brahman? I am not going to cover that because we don't have time for that. But then let's come to Srimad Bhagavatam. We wrote that this Athato Brahma Jignasa is directly connected to Satyam Param Dhimahi. Right? Why? Brahman is Brahati iti Brahman. Right? That which is big. What does Param mean? Ultimate. That is how these two are linked. Brahman and Param are linked to each other. Okay. What is so Jignasa? One way we talked was grace of the Supreme Lord. From grace of the Supreme Lord comes through association with devotees. But what happens with the grace of the Supreme Lord and association of devotees? When one gets sufficiently purified, Krishna says in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Mayavesha mano yemam nityayukta asate shraddhaya parayopetas te me yukta tamamataha. You should note down all these verses. You all should develop good note writing abilities because you are going to debate on these topics. And whatever I'm speaking here, I'm going to ask you to debate exactly opposite to it. And you should provide strong opposition to what I'm saying here. Okay? This is chapter 12, verse 3. Okay? So, and the reason I'm going to ask you to give a strong opposition to this is, only then you will come face to face with all the excuses your mind is going to put against this understanding. So you have to really think from how your mind can cheat you. So it is Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So this jigyasa from the perspective of the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita here is the one who is qualified, ultimately qualified, he can have his attention fully focused on the absolute truth. That is the highest devotee, whose consciousness is fully focused. And therefore, jigyasa is connected to dhimahi, which is meditate on the Supreme Lord. So many of you, why is this word dhimahi is also related to the Gayatri mantra? How many of you know the Savitri Gayatri mantra? Recite. You can recite. Huh? Recite. Huh? Okay. I'm going to tell something which is not supposed to be done, but I'll do it. There is a tune to it. And the tune is supposed to be told by those who have Diksha. The tune that typically goes is Om Bhorbaswaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. This one should tell in this tune after one gets Diksha. Not that I have Diksha, but I'm just telling. But the reason I told is this, that there is a foundation called Gayatri Sansthan Foundation, something like that. It's based in Haridwar. One of their primary objectives is everybody should chant Gayatri Mantra. And whenever you go to these places, you will hear a particular tune. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitu. I mean, they sing in a particular, like a sinusoidal way, they sing it. But you have to understand that what I told earlier, that is a tune that has to be, in which it has to be sung. So that you get to know that, boss, this is not the right one. Many people will say, I want to sing in this tune. It sounds nice, especially these 45, 50 plus old people, no? They like this kind of tunes very much. Slowly and steadily it goes. Young people may not like it. That's okay. So, this Dhimahi is tied to having obtained the required qualification. Now focus your mind fully, not just the mind, your consciousness fully on the Lord. What is the meaning of focusing the consciousness? The meaning of focusing the consciousness is, first and foremost, we do what is called as Shravana. We hear. Then, we contemplate on what we hear. That is called Manana. Then, we put it, after we reflect here, we do what is called as Nididhyasana. What is Nididhyasana? We meditate or contemplate even more deeper. So manana is reflection. Reflection means it could have happened this way, it could have happened that way. What does the scripture say for this? What does the scripture say for that? In one sense, what we are all doing is Shravana and Manana. What I am requesting you all to do is the Nididhyasana. When the Nididhyasana becomes mature, that is when this Dhimahi occurs. Having obtained the right qualifications, which is that we had the association of devotees. Therefore, now focus on the absolute truth. This is Baladev Vidyabhushan's here and Jiva Goswami too. So Jiva Goswami says, Satyam Param Dhimahi. Dhimahi we understand. From Jignasa we understood. Brahman is Param. Why this Athato and Satyam? Satyam means all of you know very well. Truth. Correct? Atha, therefore, we're having the right prerequisites. How is this related to truth? Any idea? Huh? Krishna is the ultimate truth. Okay? I'll give you a clue. It's related to this verse that we studied, that we learned today. Huh? The question is, how is, like Jiva Goswami says that Athato Brahma Jignasa is encapsulated in Satyam Param Dhimahi. How is Athato related to Satyam? That is Atha and Atha. Therefore, having obtained the right prerequisites is related to Satyam. Any comments? Dikshit. You have something?
Krishna is the absolute truth. So, or the Lord is the absolute truth. That is the reason the curiosity or the interest to know about Him, whatever we are living is fake, because right now we are in one form, next we might have another form or anything else. So, the material world itself we tell is Maya and it is not truth. Except Krishna, there is nothing which is true. So, that is the reason it is.
So, this verse, Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovide. A person has done a prayatna. He has done effort to go upari adaha. And he has found there is only sukha and dukkha. And he finds that there is something else which is better. That is where, what is better? The final enduring truth. Satyam here is that enduring truth. He is the absolute truth. And therefore, this atha and atha, having found out there is no other enduring truth than the Supreme Lord, having obtained the prerequisite through the association of devotees, Satyam, one comes to know the Satyam. And having known the Satyam, Param, that is none other than Brahman, which is Krishna. One should then focus on the absolute truths. That's the link from all the acharyas to this. Okay? From there to here. It's 9:40 or so. We have to. What do I have to repeat? Sorry, I have to come here. What did you say? Satyam. So, having understood that prayatna, this prayateta comes from the word prayatna. I have put so much effort, but a wise man, Kovida, knows very well that I am just going from sukha to dukkha, from upari to adaha, from higher planets to lower planets. Everywhere I am getting sukha and dukkha, not getting anything else. And all this sukha, dukkha comes automatically. But then is there something higher than this? That one gets to know through association of devotees that there is an absolute truth. So therefore, ataha, having obtained the association of devotees, which with the prerequisite of devotees, and therefore, the therefore is knowing very well that I have analyzed this world, I am getting nothing else here, and this I have this nice qualification of understanding because of mercy of devotees. Therefore, let me focus my mind on Krishna. That's the thing. Okay? But now, this is still theory. Yes, Jiva Goswami in the Sandarbhas has written. Having said this, now we are going to, in the next sessions, we are going to take it at more practical level. We are going to question some of these assumptions. Okay? So, in other words, typically in Shastra, when Vedavyas, when Acharyas like Ramacharya, Madhvacharya, Balda Vidyabhushan, when they give a commentary, they first do something called as a Purva Paksha. So for this Athato Brahma Jignasa, also they have a Purva Paksha. Maybe somebody else told something like this. They feel this way. And then they refute it. So, but for us, the Purva Paksha is what the Acharyas have already said. It is right. But now we are going to come with saying, what are the other ways in which we can say this is possibly not right? Not in the spirit of putting down the Acharya, but in the spirit of deepening our understanding. So, now that you have understood, sometime May 20th or so, you are going to have a debate here. I can make it girls versus boys, or I can mix and do it. It's all up to you. You have to form your own teams. But I'm going to give 2 to 3 topics, and each team will have just 2 or 3 students. 2 or 3 of you. And you will have to debate. And it is not that only the person who says Acharyas are right will be the winners. Even the persons who give a strong opposition will be the winners. Okay? Now you may ask, why this debate? Rupa Goswami did not want us to get into the spirit of debate to put down somebody else. So we will not get into the debate of saying, I am great, you are not great. That is not our purpose. Ours is a more humble mood. My mind sometimes tells me like this, and therefore I'm putting it down. Or somebody else's mind can say like this. In that way, we are going to put it down. That's the mood we are going to get in. Okay? So we'll end here. We'll chant Hare. What's the time? 9:40, right? 45. Get down here. Thank you all very